Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Creative CEO Podcast. I just want to start off by thanking everybody who got in contact with me after my first episode. It was just really kind of you to reach out and tell me how much you loved the first one. I must admit, I feel like the first one was just a bit of a warm-up, but I'm just so happy with the response I've got. I've had some ratings on Apple Podcasts so far, so if you're listening to this, please give this podcast a rating, and if you've got a little bit more time, please give it a review because it really will help the podcast be pushed out to more people. I think going forward, I don't want to set the expectation that I'm going to be able to fit in a weekly podcast. So I'm going to set the expectation that I'm going to do every fortnight. But if I'm feeling like I've got a bit more time, like maybe when all my Christmas commissions are out the way, I might be able to fit in a few more. So then I might sneak in an extra episode. I went on holiday last week. I went to New York. I've been to New York a few times and I was really inspired by something that I listened to. So I went during the sort of the 9/11 week and I went to the 9/11 Memorial and Museum. I've been before, but I wanted to go again without my child so that I could actually sort of really focus on it. And I went into a cinema theatre for, it was a 15-minute film. And there was a story on there and a bloke was speaking and what he said really sort of resonated with me. If you've never been to New York, you've probably seen it, like images it from above. So the Twin Towers were situated in the financial district, which is at the bottom end of New York. So the Twin Towers were like relatively close to the water's edge. When the Twin Towers first hit, both of the towers, people were obviously starting to panic and started to run away from the scene. This is before they'd even fallen down. And people were like sort of flocking to the water's edge and then realising, obviously, because Manhattan is an island, that they were trapped. And I think the Coast Guard on the water saw this and realised that they were going to have to do like a really big evacuation of the island. And so he put a call out to all the boats that were available and said, we need to do an evacuation of Manhattan. Is anyone out there that wants to come and help? And then they did this humongous evacuation. Anyway, my point is, there was a captain was interviewed for this film, and he was nowhere near Manhattan, or he was like in another area of New York. He was at home with his wife and his children, and he was safe. He was away from all the danger, but he had heard this call come through. And he said to the camera, he said, I don't want to go through life thinking I should have done that. He wants to go through his life thinking, you did everything that you could, or you tried everything that you could. And if you fail, you fail. And if you don't, you don't. And it was the statement when he said, I don't want to go through life saying that I should have. And even though, that is a very sort of extreme situation, I feel like it can really like relate to business. I just wanted to like sort of share that story with you because I feel like there's lots of sort of opportunities kind of do come our way, or ideas might come into our head and you might think, oh, should I not do that? And my sort of answer now is yes. If your gut is telling you to try and do something new or go and seize an opportunity or do something different, I feel like you should just do it because you never know where it's going to take you. And, life is just a series of events and you don't know where all the pieces are like going into place until you actually try something. Also, I've had a bit of an identity crisis this week because for the first time in my life, I've been prescribed glasses, and I chose some before I went away to New York. And I felt, because I'd never tried on glasses before, and like the sales guy, he was lovely, but he was just kind of stood there helping me choose, and I felt really under pressure. And I didn't really like think about what I wanted to look like. So I kind of just chose some that kind of resembled Ray-Bans because that's what I wear as sunglasses, but they don't look like Ray-Bans. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm having a bit of an identity crisis, but I'm going to show you if you're watching on video because I need to get over them, as I'm not going to buy another pair and I'm probably going to end up filming myself in them. So hang on, bear with me. My husband thinks I look like Harry Potter, which is fine because I do like Harry Potter. I'm embarrassed to even look at the camera. Do you like them? I do feel like Harry Potter. They're they're quite round and I just feel like a 60-year-old librarian. But, times have changed. My eyes are not what they used to be. So I asked on social media. So I asked on both my art account and the Creative CEO account. Thank you so much if you took the time to get back to me. And I hope that I can almost answer your question through this podcast. And there should be lots of things that people relate to, like you might not have answered the question, but hopefully these kind of get to you as well. So I'm just going to read out sort of some of the answers that I had. So the question was, what are your biggest productivity struggles? A couple of people said actually getting started, like the procrastination and actually getting started, finding time in your day, which obviously I talked about a bit last week with your time mindset, juggling your brain back and forth between being a parent, running a household, running a business, having animals, whatever you do. The to-do list is always so long, it's hard to prioritize, absolutely. Distractions, I've had phone, dogs, jobs in the house, like that also gets me, like little things that you got to do in the house if you're working from home. Starting a new project, so like again actually getting started, feeling that you should be doing other things. And then someone said something really interesting, struggling with the concept of not being productive all the time. And funny enough, that is something that I struggle with. I often wake up like quite early, like around sort of 5ish, and sometimes I lie there thinking I could get some work done, but then you also need your sleep. So I suppose I am getting better at it, but that is a really good one, like the mindset shift that you don't have to be productive all the time. And I will like talk later about like what I would do. Because I don't try to be productive 100% of the time. I just try to be productive in my working hours. But I thought that was a really good point to make. And then someone asked me, what app or program do I use to keep on top of my tasks? Now, I don't use like someone else's program. I actually use Google. I have Google Drive, and I create my own spreadsheets. I'm actually in the process of creating my own diaries, but there's a couple of apps that you could use. So I've heard of Todoist. I have no experience with it. And then also Plannerly. I think that's more for like social media, but I prefer to keep my sort of monthly expenditure as low as possible. So I'm doing things by myself rather than paying like another subscription. But those are two which I've been advised about. The first one, finishing one project and getting started on another. Now, I totally relate to this. It's really hard, especially if you do commissions like I do. Like whether you do, I know that not everybody listening will be an artist, so hopefully you can relate this to your business or your work or your life. But if I finish a project, I do find it really hard switching on to the next one. So what I've started to do is making sure that I have a physical break between the two. So I won't go straight from one commission and straight into the next one. I will do admin, or I will do something that's completely unrelated to art to really break up my day. Often I won't finish a commission and start a brand new one and start drawing a brand new one in the same day. I will often finish one, package it up, do some admin or do something completely different, and then I will draw out. I'll do like the admin for the next project the night before. There is a lot of admin involved in setting up a piece of artwork. It's normally the line art, getting the reference photo printed out for me and getting the line art drawn out. So I like to do that the night before so that I can start afresh when I'm feeling like my freshest and my most creative the day after. So my biggest advice would be, before you start a new project, you have a complete break from being creative or whatever it is that you do. Just do something completely different and get yourself prepared for the day after, when you will be feeling like you're freshest and, you know, your head's in the right place again. Okay, the next one, juggling your brain between business, home, personal life, like switching between all of the different sort of aspects of your life. This is something that I've really had to work with. To be fair, I'm much better at it now because I'm no longer working part-time and I just have to think about business, family, animals. That's my thing. Social life sometimes, not all the time. And I know some people, you know, you might not necessarily have children, but you have a full-time job or a part-time job. Like whatever, there's always, no one is ever just doing one thing. They always have to switch between between different aspects of their life. This is why I think commutes actually, even though like no one really wants a long commute. But I remember when I used to work in Coventry and my commute was about 40 minutes and it was long, but it did actually give me time to reset. So I listened to various podcasts and it did help reset my brain from work to home. I'm not suggesting that you go off and get a job further away so you have a commute, but I think like if you do have a commute, don't see it as an imposition, see it as an opportunity for you to reset your brain and listen to something on the radio or podcasts or music that is completely different to your job. Like I feel like it's really good to just completely reset your brain between work and home. Now, the caveat to that is obviously if you are like me and you work from home, you don't have that physical distance or that physical space between work and home life. What I tend to do is when I finish work, I either take the dog for a walk or I go to the horses. So my sort of middle ground between work and home life is actually the animals. Now, animals are a great healer. If you've got animals, if you've got pets, like whatever those pets are, and you work from home, I think they're a really good way of distancing yourself between business and home life. Go and take your dog for a walk, go and ride your horse, go and play with your rabbits or whatever, or go and sit and snuggle up with your cat. I just think juggling your brain between business, home life and stuff, I think it's good to have like some sort of middle thing that you do. And for me, that is the animals. If you don't have any pets, then maybe, if you're picking your child up from nursery, maybe decide to walk instead of drive. Take yourself to a completely different room, do some exercise, just anything that's not work related and is not child related or whatever you're doing next. Another good idea to juggle to help with the sort of juggling between business and home life is you can change your social media settings and set do not disturb, basically changing your phone settings so that you almost shut down the business side of your life until you have got your child to bed. And then when you are ready to be business boss again, your settings will come back. When I'm creating, often thoughts come into my head, personal things like reconfirm your child's tax-free childcare. I have a little whiteboard. It's actually, I don't think you can see it, but because it's stuck to my thing. And I essentially just scribble thoughts that come down into my head as I'm creating. And that's a really good way of allowing those thoughts to come in, because it's good. If thoughts are like randomly coming into your head, it actually means that you're relaxed, which is a good thing. But often those thoughts can be really irritating because they could easily distract you. So I would just write them down. It doesn't have to be a whiteboard. It could be a piece of paper. Get those thoughts out of your head and onto a piece of paper, and then you can come back to them another time. And then finally, what can you actually then accomplish with your children around? Instead of trying to juggle business and home life on your own, what can you leave until your child is awake? For me, I try and leave tidying and cleaning to when she's awake. And it is hard. I'm sure other people with toddlers will understand. Like, it is difficult because when you put something away, they get something out. But so what can you accomplish with your child around that you can sort of, when you're working, you can park, and then you can just do that when you're in mum brain rather than business. Another point which somebody made was they just struggle to find the time. I totally understand where someone is coming from, because when I first started this business, I was working 5 days a week. I didn't have a child at the time, but I still had my animals. I still had the life as it is. I still had a dog. I was also planning a wedding, it is really hard especially when you're working full time, or maybe when you've got a really young child, to fit your work in or fit stuff that you want to do in your personal life in. And I totally understand where someone is coming from, and it's really hard. You can't find more time, but you can adapt your lifestyle to help you be more productive with your time. Things that you could do to help yourself is I used to meal prep. And not necessarily meal prep the whole meal, but I used to cut up all of my veg on a Sunday, and it automatically decreased the amount of cooking time because you don't have to sit there and do the prep. So everything was cut up. I just had to chuck it into a pan. And like using a slow cooker, for example, is a really good way of if you've got the time in the morning, again, if you've chopped all your veg, you just chuck everything in the slow cooker and turn it on. And by the time that you come back from work, your dinner is cooked. So there are little things like that can help. And if you don't actually feel like you sit down until 7 o'clock, maybe you only want to give yourself 1 hour. You do have to really push your brain. Like, your body probably just wants to lie on the sofa and, watch some TV, which is totally fine. And lots of us need to do that. But if you are serious about building a business and you're serious about doing something in your personal life that requires you to work in the evening, you're just going to have to get your brain into the mindset of doing it. And that's what I had to do. I was working full time and then coming home after school and everything. And then I really had to push myself. And some days I didn't do any business work. And I think that's really important, especially if you've got a really stressful day. Your health and your body is more important than your business. Sometimes you need to accept, right, tonight I'm not doing anything. I'm literally going to lie on the sofa for a couple of hours and just let my body relax, or I'm going to go and have a hot bubble bath, or whatever you need to do to relax, or I'm going to go to the gym, or, and accept that sometimes you're not going to be able to fit in business work and you are going to have to just chill out, and it's perfectly okay. I think what's not perfectly okay is if you get into the mindset of doing that every single day, and if you're serious about doing something, you need to actually just push your brain on your body to do it after work. Which I know it sounds really harsh, but that is just the reality. Like, you can't add more time into your day. You can only use the time that you've got. And I definitely would not recommend just staying up late and working all hours. I don't believe that you should be burning yourself out and working all hours to make your business work. You should just be doing it in manageable chunks in the time that you've got. And if you've only got an hour at the end of the day, then you've only got an hour, and you just have to make sure that each hour is productive. Your business will grow a lot more slowly, but that's just the nature of your life at the moment. And then later on in life, you might be able to drop a day at work or something. Also, if you are going to work and you're trying to build a business, again, I've been in the exact same position. I've used my lunchtime, sat in the staff room and done emails at lunchtime. If you've got a commute, if you sit on the train, that's perfect time to fit in business stuff. So wherever you can fit it in. Also, I just want to say, if you're working full time and you're trying to build a business, just keep going with it. Honestly, it's the best thing that I ever did. Don't feel like the only solution is just to sack it all in and go into it full time. As good as that is for some people, you do have to think about your finances. You don't want to be you don't want to go all in for a couple of months, run out of money, and then have to go back to work or have to find something else that's not as good. Wait until your business is at a point where you can financially keep yourself afloat, and then do what I did. I built my business up for 4 years before I quit my job. So you don't have to do it all in one go. You can build it up slowly, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. So finally, someone wrote, the to-do list is always so long, it's hard to prioritize. I love talking about this. Now, I don't know why I used to like it. I absolutely hate a to-do list. It gives me so much anxiety, and seeing a big long list of tasks, it just doesn't do anything for me anymore. I think we should kill the to-do list. I don't think you should have just one big long list of things to do. It really does stop you from prioritizing, because if you're like me and you just look at a big long list of words, it doesn't make any sense about what should be priority. So I want to do a little exercise with you. This is what I do to prioritize my task list. So I call it a task list, not a to-do list. First of all, this is almost going against what I've just said. I do have a to-do list, but I don't look at it every single day. So on Google spreadsheets, I break my year into quarters. So the next quarter will be October, November, December. I have a to-do list per quarter, because I think it's good to have somewhere where you do write down something that you might need to think about in a couple of months. And I will write things that I know will need to come up in those months. But I kind of have that separately, and I don't really look at it that often, because I can't bear to look at a big long list of tasks. The exercise that I want you to do is, let's just think about the remainder of September. So on a piece of paper, I just want you to, I call it a brain dump, which I know sounds a bit, doesn't sound quite right, but it makes sense. So basically, all of the things that you are thinking about, all of the thoughts that are swirling around in your head, I want you to just get them out of your head and just dump them onto a piece of paper. So you can just do it really, really quickly, like within 5 minutes, just scribble all the things that you think you've got to do. Like, they could be small things, they could be big things, they could be personal, they could be business. Everything that you've got to do for the remainder of September, just write it onto a sheet of paper. So pause the podcast and do that now. Now what I want you to do is go and get 3 different colours. And what you're going to do is you're going to highlight, or, colour in high, mid and low priority. Now, to categorise these, normally I do this exercise at the start of the month, but we're obviously doing it in the middle of the month, but it doesn't really matter. So normally for high priority, it's has got to be completed in the next few days by the end of the week. Mid priority would be completed within 2 to 3 weeks. And then low priority is, it doesn't need to be completed until the end of the month, or it could be completed at the start of next month. So just shorten those sort of windows, because we're doing it at the end of September. Your next task, now you don't have to do this bit, but I really like having neat lists. So I then, on a separate sheet of paper, have headings. I have high, mid, low, and then just write them neatly under those headings. All of a sudden, you can see that your to-do list for September is no longer as overwhelming, because you've prioritized. It's a really good way of breaking down your to-do list into manageable tasks, and then it will help you prioritize and plan your actual day-to-day. If you use this same exercise for October, is obviously your low priority items for September will likely move into mid priority and then maybe into high priority. So it's not about scrapping the low priority stuff. It's just about not doing it when you don't have to. And I'm really notorious for adding stuff onto my task list, such as starting a podcast. Hopefully that exercise has helped. What I would also suggest for your day-to-day management is time blocking. What I mean by that is actually writing down hours, hour and a half, 2-hour chunks of tasks. This also will help with the things that I said earlier. So juggling your brain between business, home, personal life, all that sort of stuff. So the thing with time blocking is it's just allowing you to prioritize certain things, planning in parts of your day which you might end up just doing anyway if you get distracted, such as social media. So if you actually write into your day, right, between 2:30 and 3:30, I'm going to create 2 reels, or I'm going to do an hour on social media, and that might be making reels, making content, or engaging. It will stop you from getting yourself distracted during the day. It's not about giving yourself a timetable and like sticking to it and then getting yourself cross if you don't stick to it. It's just giving yourself an opportunity to fit in all of the things that you want to do in that day and giving yourself the space to do it. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope that you enjoyed this podcast, whether you watched it on YouTube, whether you listened to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I'm so, so grateful. Please leave a review. Please leave a rating. It will help me more than you know. Please share this with your friends. I really want to spread the word about this podcast, because I really love doing it, and I love actually helping people, and it's been so refreshing having people message me and say how much it's helped them. So please get in contact, and if you've got anything that you want me to talk about, you don't have to leave your name. I will never give out someone's names in this podcast unless you want me to, but please send me a message or drop me an email, georgie@georgieturnerartist.co.uk. And if there's anything that you really want me to go into, then please let me know. Right, that's all for me. Thank you so much. I will see you on the next episode. Bye.